Patreon.com/the Walk-Off Podcast. $4 a month gets you in there.
So for the last 2 years, well, maybe not quite that long, maybe the last 18 months, it feels like catching has constantly been at the forefront of talking Blue Jays baseball. Just they had three stud catchers on their way up. How was playing time going to work out? All of this stuff. Is one going to be moved? And now that the picture is cleared up, I'm really curious what you think about the tandem of Danny Jansen and Alejandro Kirk and how their playing time split is going to look. Is one of them going to be a number one catcher? Is it going to be a 50-50 split? And I'm curious what you think about how Varsho sprinkles in behind the plate.
Yeah, it's still an area of depth for the Jays. To have two catchers in Jansen and Kirk who can do what they can do, that's a great starting point. And I think, they definitely kept the two catchers who have the most established track records, who have the most upside for 2023. Those guys are positioned to each, I think, get a lot of playing time. I mean, if you're Jansen or Kirk, I wouldn't be worried at all about getting your reps in. You're going to get your chances, in 2023, whether it's DH or whether it's catcher. I mean, to start the season, you're probably going to see Manoah paired with Kirk. We might see Jansen paired with certain starting pitchers. Then you're going to try to avoid day game after a night game. You're going to try to avoid catching Kirk three games in a row. I doubt they do that very much until the very end of the season. And then of course DH is going to be a factor as well to some extent. But it's I don't think you need to concern yourself if you're the Blue Jays too much about exactly, what the target is, because it's going to be fluid. You're going to make those adjustments in season. But I would think that Jansen, is Jansen catching 85 games and then Kirk is catching another 70 games and then Varsho's catching 7? That would be my guess. Something like that's probably their plan A. And then of course Kirk would be DHing a lot in that situation. He might be DHing 70 games. Belt would be DHing 90 games. Belt plays another, 10 at first base, pinch hits another 20 times. Like there
Mm-hmm.
are pathways, and that's if everyone's healthy, which they won't be. So all these guys are going to have chances to play.
So is that an indication then that this transition of George Springer from center field to right field in a is is this team optimistic that that means he will have to DH less?
Probably, yeah, because Springer's definitely had his share of DH at bats in the last couple years as well. Um, you know, End of the day, if it comes down to both Springer and Belt, for example, need a day off their feet, I think you got to get Springer in there as the DH as opposed to Belt because he's George Springer. He's one of the better hitters in baseball. So,
Mm-hmm.
at a certain point, that could end up impacting, there could be a trickle down effect there. But the good thing about Belt is, if he can come close to replicating his 2020-21 track record, or even, let's just say his career numbers, let's say it's a 110 WRC plus, a bit better than that against righties, then he's someone who can come off the bench, pinch hit for you against a really tough righty. That's not an easy ask, but they've certainly had Kirk do that regularly. But Kirk's going to do that from the right side. To have someone from the left side who can do that is a plus for the Jays.